So for today, you're going to need a measuring tape or a ruler. If you have a ruler, that would probably be just as well. You'll just have to measure it out in foot lengths. You'll need a pair of scissors, 2 different colors of paracord, optional pliers, but these will help you from burning your hands. We will be using a lighter for this project, and you're going to need a buckle or 2 to close off your bracelet when it's finished, so you can wear it on your wrist. So to get started, you're going to take your paracord, and first of all, you want to measure this around your wrist just to get a starting length. So go ahead and do that, and then we'll measure out our wrist length and come back. Okay, so we've finished measuring our wrist. My wrist was 7 inches in length all around. So I measured around my wrist and I came up with 7 inches. So we are going to need, for my green color, which I plan to put on the inside of my bracelet, we're going to need 3 feet, and we're going to need an additional 2 inches of green. Then for my outside color, I'm going to need another 3 feet and 6 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that into foot-long lengths now. Here's 1 foot on my measuring tape. So I'm going to cut this all together. Like I said, for me, it's going to be 3 feet and I'm just roughing this out. So 3 feet, and we want an additional 3, let's say 6 inches, because I can always cut off the excess. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut my paracord now. Put the extra away for later. We're going to do the same thing with our second color. And you can find a lot of this paracord at your local hardware store or outdoor stores. Like I said, I got mine at my local dollar store. It's very inexpensive. Okay, so we've got 1 foot here, 2 feet, 3 feet, and I'll just do another 3 feet, 6 inches, just to make it easy. And like I said, at the end, we're going to be cutting off the excess. So I'll snip it here. Again, setting my extra aside for later. I have 2 buckles, so I can make 2 bracelets. All right, so now at this point, we want to keep our ruler off to the side because we are going to need that in a moment. I'm going to bring our pliers in just to help us hold on to things. Getting our buckle ready. So you can leave the buckle together or apart at this stage, but we're going to be working with the male end first. So the male end being the one with the prongs. So take your outside color, pull some of the white cord out from the inside, and then snip that off with your scissors. And throw that away. Now take your cord and pull up, which just moves the white cord inside down and leaves an opening at the end, which we can stick our other cord in. Our other cord needs to get in, and as you can see, that's not going to easily happen when they're both basically the same size. So we need to take this color and melt the end a little bit with our lighter. You can either use your pliers or your fingers here if you're able. Just be careful you don't burn yourself. That's why sometimes if you come along with your pliers to do this part, you can save yourself from getting burned. I was doing this yesterday, so I did learn my lesson a couple times. Okay. So just basically going to push this in. As far in as you can get that to go. Sort of spinning it helps a little bit here. And you'll see we're left with all this other paracord kind of over the top. This is where our other paracord is. So we need to melt this together. So you can use your pliers for this or your hands again. Like I said, we're not trying to make it perfect. We just need to melt it a little bit. So take your lighter and just run the paracord into the flame around the edges where they were frayed. And then what I do when it's still a little hot, just pinch it a little bit with my pliers there. Perfect. So it doesn't have to be pretty. We're going to hide this in our braiding. So let's get our buckle. We're going to be starting with the male edge of the buckle, which is the one with the prongs on it. You can leave them together for now. I just leave mine together the whole time. So we're going to take our edge of our cord and run it up through the bottom. So I can tell the bottom of my buckle because it's curved. So it's going to fit against my wrist. So I'm coming up through the bottom. Now you may have a flat buckle. That's okay as well. So just run this through until you see your joining edge. Now we want to leave that about an inch down so it doesn't get in the way of our first knot and it's easy to hide. Perfect. Now with that same piece of cord that you were just running up through the bottom, take the edge and go back down the top and pull it through until you see a loop. And we want to keep this loop out. Take both pieces of cord, come through the top, and pull it all the way through. And then we want to snug this up. So just give it a little tug. Perfect. There's one edge of our buckle. Now we're going to be working with this edge. So you have your two edges. One will be longer than the other. Or you may have cut them the same. Okay, so at this point you can take the other edge of your cord and just put it off to the side. We're going to be working with our other edges. Go ahead and find the ends. Take your other cord. Again, coming up through the bottom, or what would be the top if you were wearing the buckle here. And we can just pull the cord through. I'm going to be pulling back our other buckle edge. That's fine, because that's what we want. I'm going to pull the loose ends toward me. Pull the buckle out in front of me here. So you'll see what I mean. We wanted to come up that way so that when we close this, they're joined together without being upside down. So earlier, you'll remember we measured our wrist length. So we need our tape measure again, or our ruler. And we need to find 7 from the edge of the buckle to the other edge of the buckle. So my wrist was 7 inches. So I'm going to be looking for 7 inches here. There. Now your wrist will be different lengths, so you will have cut your cord to different lengths depending, or you could be working with one long length of cord and you're just going to cut off the extra at the end, and that's fine too. Okay, so there's my 7. So now I'll just keep this nice and snug up here for the moment. Move my tape measure out of the way. And I'm going to be working with my colors to the right and the left of what is my bracelet length. So what we want to do is take this color, come over the top, kind of, you can make it sort of a shape if you want to help you. Come over the top, but under this color, okay? Then we want to take this color, bring it under your 2 pieces of cord, then under this green piece, and pull that up through the green loop that we created. And this is a little tricky, so kind of keep this as straight as you can here, and then just snug it up. And you can pull it if you want to get it straightened back out. You can see that my joining edge has moved quite a bit down, but that's okay. As long as it's still measuring 7 inches, it'll get hidden in there. It doesn't really matter where it's hidden. All right, so now we want to do the same thing. So we want our outside color coming over the top, but under the other color. Our middle color going under and through the loop. And again, snugging that tight. Now don't worry if this looks a little loose, because when we get down a little bit further, we're going to snug the whole thing up again, a little bit more snug as well, just to keep the braid looking sharp. And now I've gotten pretty far with mine. It looks a little messy here at the end, so I'm just going to snug and pull, or push it kind of up, which snugs it up. And we'll just keep going, and I'll meet you back here when I'm closer to the edge. Okay, so we're back, and I have reached the edge of my paracord bracelet. So now we need to take our loose cords, cut them off really close, and then I'll show you what to do to get them incorporated into your bracelet. So for this stage, we're going to need, if you're using them, your optional pliers and scissors, and we're going to need our lighters. So we will take our paracord edges and pretty closely, leaving a tiny bit of room here, we're just going to snip them and put aside our extra pieces. And if you are using longer lengths, then you may have longer pieces to cut off, and hopefully some left over to make another bracelet down the road. So now what I'm going to be doing is just sort of pulling this edge out a tiny bit, just making sure that it's snug. Kind of moving my buckle out of the way here as well as I can. I'm going to take my edge here, and I'm going to melt it completely. So this time you don't have to be as careful, just making sure it's good and melted. And when you can see it's sort of liquefying there at the edge, you're going to take your pliers or your fingers if you're being very careful and just squeeze down on it, make sure that it's nice and incorporated. Now in doing that, I just pulled my other edge through. I'm just going to pop that back through the other side here. I may have cut this one a little too close. There we go. Okay, so I have a little bit more work to do on this side of the bracelet. Okay, so now again, just get it good and melted. When you see it liquefy, you know it's done. And take your plier and push it down, almost like making a stamp on a letter. And you'll see that's melted right into the other cord. But in an emergency, if you needed to use this, you could easily pop this apart. It wouldn't take much force, but it's not enough force that putting the bracelet on and off will be able to remove it. So there we have our completed paracord bracelet, ready to use for our next hike or camping trip. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and follow my channel. I'm going to be posting more crafting videos, more videos of me trying new things. I'm also going to be posting lots of cooking videos and some thrift shopping adventures as well. So I'd love it if you joined along and watched me try things, which sometimes go really well and other times do not. But I think that these turned out great. Very useful. Thanks again. Bye-bye.